We live in very interesting times. Perhaps the surest sign that you've had a malicious cyber attack on your computer is the lack of any sign. Now, as businesses secure resources, the criminals are just getting started. Now, one company, SYMANTEC, has been at the forefront, trying to secure the internet and make the cyberspace a much safer place. In fact, the recently released Internet Security Threat Report has a couple of very grim conclusions. To talk more about these and how businesses can secure themselves, I have with me Bjorn Engelhardt. Thank you so much for joining us, Bjorn.
Thank you.
Who is the Vice President of Strategic Sales for APJ with SYMANTEC. Bjorn, you're a bit of a cricket fanatic, and so am I, and we live in very interesting times where you see threats come from corners where you don't expect them and you expect them the least from. And that's much like the internet and cyber world that we are in. You know, the threats that you had in that sphere about 20 years back was something that you could grapple with much better than what you're seeing today. Today it's all about malicious attacks. How bad has the problem got?
It's actually got pretty bad on a global basis, and you raise a good point. If we go back 5 years, maybe even 10 years back there, the goal of an attack or a virus was to be seen.
Correct.
It was trying to deface a website, much like graffiti, cyber graffiti, make a big name for yourself and say, hey, I managed to get into this website.
Yep.
But as you said, the goal now is to actually remain hidden, not to be detected at all. And what they're trying to do is to sit on your website or sit on your machine, your personal PC or even your mobile device, and actually take information that they can use to make money for themselves. And so there's been this really interesting shift over the last few years from defacing websites and destroying machines, like deleting hard drives, etc., to actually trying to just take information for financial gain. And so we're seeing this probably evolve a little bit more into what we'll call cyber espionage, where the attacks are becoming more targeted. If we go back a few years again, the same attack was sent to thousands, if not millions of people. And what we're seeing now, though, is they're targeting you based on who you are, where you work, what type of information you may have access to, how much money you've got in your own bank account, and they're going to use that type of information to create an attack specific for you.
I'm worried about the word targeted attacks. It's a bit like targeted advertising, where they're trying to profile who you are. What are the kind of targeted attacks are we seeing? Are they targeting me as an individual or you as an individual? Are they looking at our corporations? Can you just help me understand the word targeted attacks a little more?
Yeah, so like, I think all of us are under attack. Now, the word targeted attack means that it's targeted at a specific organisation or an individual, usually an individual within a particular company. And so what they're using methods such as social networking to find out information about who you are, what you like to do, what type of websites you visit. Then they will create, using many toolkits that you can download from the internet, a series of attacks that will go specifically after your organisation, saying, hey, you visit particular types of websites on a regular basis. Well, let's infect that website. You know, it's a technique they call the watering hole effect or watering hole attack, where they will actually infect innocent websites that you may visit on a regular basis. Much like a crocodile sits there at a watering hole waiting for some animal to come up.
Okay.
You know, they're now waiting for someone to innocently go to this website. At that point of time, there's some sort of malicious code downloaded onto your device, and from there they take control of your system.
I think the epitome of malicious attacks is social engineering, to pull out passwords and other information and then slowly, But coming back to the report out here, threefold increase on attacks to small and medium businesses. How serious is this problem compared to what we've seen in the past?
I think it's serious for two reasons. One, it's serious for the small to medium businesses that operate both here in India and on a global basis. And so the question is always, why are they attacking small to medium businesses? There's not as much money.
Right.
It's true, but
and there aren't as many people as well.
But it's easier though, and it's very easier. A small to medium business doesn't have the sophistication of infrastructure. They don't have the amount of people that a large organisation would. They probably typically don't have the awareness, and they say, I'm immune to it. They wouldn't be coming after me.
Okay.
They'll only be going after the larger organisations. And so there's a good saying that the money of a small company is as easily spent as the cash of a large company as well. And so if you can get 10 companies that are small, much easier than you can get one large one, it's very profitable. But the other part, though, I think that's not as understood, is that a small company is part of a value chain for larger organisations. Smaller companies are suppliers to medium organisations or large organisations, and so once you breach into that value chain, you've created an issue for all types of companies.
How are you protecting your customers then?
I think one of the key trends today, and what we're spending a lot of time is talking to customers about cloud security, or using security delivered through the cloud. And that's really, moving to a service provider similar to SYMANTEC, where we're offering a lot of the traditional security functions, be it mail security, endpoint security, maybe user authentication or backup, through a cloud provider such as SYMANTEC. The advantage of that is really that we take responsibility for delivering an outcome. So a traditional way with security is that we give you some technology and we say, here, go and build it, Ashwin.
Right.
You buy the equipment, you buy the software, you integrate it yourself. But customers today are wanting an outcome. They don't really care so much about the technology. They want to know that they're guaranteed that they're looked after, they're not getting any viruses, and that somebody's monitoring their infrastructure and their systems on a constant basis.
Criminals are ingenious. When we're talking about cricket, you have something called spot fixing, and you sometimes wonder how did somebody even conceive of a way of making money out of having somebody just raise a towel or just bowl a no ball. These innovations are interesting, truly speaking, and even when it comes to cybersecurity, you have social engineering where they take readily available information about you and they get into your systems. What are some of the most mind-boggling innovations that you have seen within the space which caught you completely unawares?
Yeah, I was going to say, back to the cricket for a moment, maybe we should have used some encryption technologies or user authentication technologies. I think sometimes technology has a right place and could have helped a few people there. But so we talked about the watering hole attacks, which is really target attacks using those social networks, as you said. We all post a lot of information on Facebook, Twitter. I'm probably one of the worst on that. I was out for a walk this morning and I posted some information saying I'm here in India. I've just seen a wonderful blue Plymouth, historic car out in the road. And so people know where I am, what I'm doing, and they're likely to send me an email to say, hey, here's some information you may be interested based on, or here's a website that you may be interested based on something that's on my social network site. And generally, the point of a social network is to be public and to share that with a lot of people. And so I think those types of attacks where people use publicly available information to craft a specific malicious attack at an individual or an organization is going to become more prevalent.
Which means that you holding a cell phone and posting a picture poses a huge problem for your system admin sitting at the backside, because mobiles are completely changing the entire way the problem is being approached out there. How complicated is the problem with people bringing in their own devices and you posting pictures from a device which probably has your computer, which probably has your company data as well as your personal data? How compounded is the problem now?
So I think mobiles by themselves cause a different challenge for all organisations, whether it's what we call BYOD, or bring your own device, or bring your own everything, because laptops are now included in that. The fact that we're moving more of the corporate information outside of the traditional enterprise boundaries is what's causing a challenge. The other fact is we're also using more and more applications. A point of whether it's a tablet or whether it's a mobile device, it is all about the application, and so we proliferate more of our information in through those applications. We do that without the necessary policy or process controls that may have existed previously inside an organisation. So that creates some challenges, and we probably expect in the next 3 years that the number of mobile malicious attacks, or the number of malware variants being created for the mobile platform will increase maybe 2 or 3-fold.
I want to get back to, you were talking about cloud and how cloud can actually supplement your security policies. Are there any threats with the cloud issue?
There's always, so people always bring up cloud has a lot of challenges, and people are concerned about security, they're concerned about cost or control as well. And so I've been a bit of a cloud advocate or an evangelist for a long time, and I know one thing for sure is that we pride ourselves on our business, and our reputation as SYMANTEC as one of the leading cloud providers is built around our ability to deliver a secure solution. So you take an example that if we were to have a breakdown, some kind of a fault in our system and get exposed, that's the end of our reputation, and people won't come to us or any other cloud provider. So you find that most cloud providers will put many times more focus on security than an organisation can. When it comes to cost, why do people move to cost? It's really about paying as you use rather than paying for a big capital investment up front. And so the model of consumption-based usage, or usage aligned to other business metrics has become very popular.
I would say that SYMANTEC probably has some of the smartest minds, because you need to have people who are probably smarter than the people who are creating the malicious software. From within, what are the kind of problems do you foresee in the coming few years? What are you guys gearing yourself for?
So you raise a really interesting point, that security is about intelligence. That if you don't have the intelligence network to understand what people are doing, not just in one country, not just in one region, but globally, you're always not going to be, not always going to understand the full security threat that exists. And so a lot of companies will focus on a single point solution, saying I've got a problem to fix advanced persistent threats, or I've got a problem to fix malware, etc. But they don't have the security network behind it. And so what we see through that security network, or that intelligence network, is we're seeing that the attacks are going to get more malicious. They're going to get better at getting through traditional security firewalls and gateways, etc. We see that mobile is going to become more of a threat. That today, mobile malware is increasing, but it's not really such an issue for organisations.
Not yet.
Not yet, but it will. We expect that to be a big threat. And we see that probably one of the biggest challenges as well is the information explosion. We're creating a lot of information today, but we're going to create a lot more information in the future. And someone needs to manage that information, someone needs to secure that information as well.
You know, my last question is something about email and archiving. And I have a couple of questions that I'd like to close this discussion with you. Email is probably the loosest link in the entire security chain, because you need to have somebody who's going to press Control-C and Control-V and your data is completely breached. How do you protect, how do you secure this extremely weak link?
Yeah, it's a good question, and there's never a 10-second answer for that. But it can start with many ways. Firstly, education of users of what the value of information is, and setting email policies within your organisation. Now, let's move into technology, encryption of emails, so that any email flowing in and out of your organisation is encrypted.
Right.
We could move into what we call data loss prevention tools, to say that email can only flow through corporate email addresses, so personal Gmails or other types of accounts can't be used, they get blocked, etc. You can actually scan the content of email, and it's actually a very common practice for sensitive industries such as financial services, etc., to scan emails for credit card numbers, social security numbers, etc., to actually know what's flowing in and out of your email, because you say it is the lifeblood of an organisation.
But debatably about 70% of your company's intellectual property lives in your emails.
Absolutely, and people kind of treat it, if you remember back to when we had filing cabinets,
yes.
And if you threw all of the files into a big box and said, there it is, go find it, people wouldn't accept it. Today they treat email like it's really not that important, where it actually is, as I said, the lifeblood of an organisation. So archiving is an important part of it, being able to find it, being able to put a life period on it. Every email has a lifetime. It shouldn't exist forever, so you should know when to expire it. So it's the security aspect and it's the information management aspect that you have to look at.
It's a fantastic thought coming out of social networks, where you keep data for a short period of time, because you have apps that let you send messages which get destroyed after a short period of time. It's fascinating to see how ideas come from different fronts, where you're taking something that's as new as a one-year-old app and trying to integrate it with email and trying to evolve the platform in itself. Thank you so much for your time, Bjorn.
Thank you.
Thank you.